There's a few different ways to find zeros of a polynomial, but in this video we're going to talk specifically about how to use factoring to find zeros. I've got 3 examples for us, and we'll start with this one. When we're finding zeros of a polynomial, what we're really asking is what x values give you a y value of 0. So I'm going to put a 0 in the y spot on the left-hand side. And then on the right, I'm going to factor and use the zero factor property to figure out what x values would give us that 0. So you can factor however you'd like. My favorite method is to factor by grouping, but go ahead and factor and then I'll join up with you in just a second. So I factor that right-hand side of the polynomial. Now we use the zero factor property to figure out what x values make each of these factors 0. As long as at least one of them is 0, then when we multiply the two together, everything's going to 0 out. So my first option is that 2x plus 3 could equal 0. My second option is that 5x minus 1 could equal 0. And now we just solve both of these and we'll have our 2 solutions. So my 2 solutions, or my 2 zeros, are negative 3 over 2 and positive 1/5. Let's do 2 more. Here's the next one. So again, to find the zeros, I'm going to replace that y value with 0, and we are using factoring, so I will now factor the right-hand side of this equation. This one does have a common factor, so I'm going to take out that common factor of x before I factor the remaining polynomial. So now to keep factoring, I'm going to focus just on that part in the parentheses and factor the quadratic however I know how. Again, I'm going to try factoring by grouping. You can factor however you'd like. So I factored that quadratic that was in the parentheses. I still have the x on the front, so I bring that down, and then it all equals 0. And now I use the zero factor property again to set each of the factors equal to 0 to see what x values make this whole equation 0 out. In this case, there are 3 factors. The first one is this x, which could equal 0. The second one is that x plus 3 could equal 0, and the last one is